Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact, an essential podcast for those who live, work, visit, and play in Carlsbad.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Bret Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and I am your host today. And I'm excited to have with me Amanda Miles. Amanda is a board member here at the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and she is currently the chief of staff at Bitchin Sauce. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Bret.
Absolutely. Good to have you here. We're going to talk about Bitchin Sauce and how its history a little bit and things like that. But before we jump into that, I was looking back at kind of your background, and it looks like you came up pretty local here. Went to Point Loma and got your undergrad and MBA. Did you grow up here locally?
I actually grew up in Eugene, Oregon, so Pacific
did?
Northwest.
Okay.
Yes, moved down here for college, and yeah, you're correct. I ended up at Point Loma Nazarene.
You're not alone in being transported down here for the college and the beauty of San Diego. And so is that where I believe you were personal connections with Starr and L.A., who are the founders of Bitchin Sauce? Did you guys meet somewhere? How did you guys meet? Tell me.
Yeah, actually, Starr, the founder
Yeah.
and CEO of Bitchin Sauce, I grew up with Starr in Eugene, Oregon, actually.
She's from Eugene as well.
Yes, and
Okay.
she came down to San Diego first, and then when I was transferring in college, it was kind of a happy coincidence that we both ended up in the same city and reconnected, and we actually met our husbands at the same time. And
Oh, wow.
but it was several years later after I moved down here that I ended up working for the company.
Okay, so you're both Oregonians. So I spent, my wife and I lived in Grants Pass, Oregon for 3.5 years, which we loved. It's so beautiful up there.
Definitely.
So nice. So, okay, and so tell us a little bit about the story about Starr creating and founding Bitchin Sauce.
Yeah, Starr and Luke are founders, our husband and wife couple, and then two other owners are Luke's brother and sister. So the four Edwards still own and operate the company. But Starr and Luke founded it together. It was Starr's recipe that she had been brewing up since she was 16 years old and cooking for her family. And when Luke and Starr started a family, they had a 1-year-old Skipper who is now 13. Mm-hmm. They needed a way to provide for their family. And so Starr decided that she loves to cook and she was good at it. And so she became a personal chef and thought that the local farmers market would be a great way to showcase some of the things that she likes to make. Of course, the sauce being one of them, and people just kept coming back to the booth for the sauce. And then they realized very quickly that they had a sauce company instead of a personal chef business. And from there, it grew.
Yeah.
But really, it's very humble roots. They started with a $200 gift from Starr's cousin and a used blender off Craigslist that Luke had bought Starr. And so, and from there, it was very organic, natural growth that they did on their own with the help of family members and loved ones that came aboard. And here we are 11 years later, almost 12 years later, and it is what it is.
Well, and I know you're now based here in Carlsbad. Was all that going on here locally, or did that start somewhere else and then it got...
It all started in Carlsbad.
It did, okay.
Yeah, Starr and Luke, when they founded the company, they were in Carlsbad. They were making it in Carlsbad and taking it to the farmers markets all around San Diego County.
Right.
And it was really a farmers market business for quite a while, and just a means for them to be able to surf and hang out with their family, but still make a living and support everyone in their family. And then one day it rained, and and they were like, "Oh no, the farmers markets are canceled. How do we continue to make money?" And then they had, hey, we need to take this to the stores.
Interesting.
So Seaside Market and all the local natural groceries, and then eventually Whole Foods and Costco, and yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's quite a jump from farmers markets to Costco.
Yeah.
And
took a few years.
Yes, my son and his wife live in North Dakota and in Bismarck, and there's a fairly new Costco there. And shopping their Costco, I'm like, hey, here's Bitchin Sauce. I mean, you guys are pretty much nationwide in Costco distribution?
Yes, we are in every region nationwide.
That's amazing. That is quite amazing. And so, and if I remember the backstory as well, Luke has like a musical background. That was part of their, kind of story of wanting to be untethered. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Yes, it's a family band too. So Harrison Edwards, our chief marketing officer and one of our owners, is the drummer for the band, and Luke is the lead, and their other brother, who also works for the company, Jesse, is also in the band. And so it's definitely, that's a family business as well. But they had kind of spun off of Bitchin Sauce Ventures, a Bitchin music group, which is a music label that they're operating as well. So they play music, and they have a music label also for other artists.
Very cool. And so you guys were friends back in Oregon. And then how long now have you been part of the company?
About 5 years now.
Okay. And when you started, your role was what?
I actually was the farmers market manager. So I basically just counted money and made sure all the farmers market personnel had their things that they needed to go to the market. So it was a very limited capacity, and it, just like the business, organically grew over time, and somehow landed in HR.
Yeah, well, but that's interesting. So in your 5 years, you've been along for this explosion of growth from the farmers market focus to now national retailers.
Yes, it's been really cool to see it from the beginning as a friend, and then being able to hop aboard when the momentum was really picking up. And that's actually, really how I was placed and put into HR. Is I was one of six administrative employees. Mm-hmm. And as they were doubling year after year, they were like, oh man, what do we need? What kind of help? And so our CFO at the time, also an owner and the sister of Luke, Olivia Edwards, said, I really could use some help with HR. I'm doing accounting, finance, and HR. Yeah. And so, it's been a great journey.
Very cool. We are talking with Amanda Miles from Bitchin Sauce. We're going to take a brief pause, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about them being awarded Business of the Year at our 2021 CBAD Awards, and talk about all the great things going on. So you mentioned that you were like the sixth employee, and now the last I saw, and I think this was on your application that came through for the CBAD Awards last year, it listed you guys as about 75 employees. Is that accurate, or are you?
We're about 85 now.
Awesome.
And just a small correction, I wasn't the sixth employee. We had, a few people making sauce and a few people in the front. Sure. So just one of the few in front of the house. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
But now up to 85 employees, and you guys were recognized at our 2021 CBAD Awards as Business of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was very cool. But you've received some other awards too. So I was on your website, and there was something called is it the SoFi or Sofi?
Sofi Awards.
Sofi Awards, and it mentioned bronze, silver, gold. So what are the Sofi Awards?
The Sofi Awards, it's a food award. It's for food products, and there's several different categories. And we had won the Salsa and Dip category. We've won quite a few awards for them. One of the years we actually swept gold, silver, and bronze. But over the past few years, that's been one of the awards that we've been honored with. Yes.
Very cool. Now, one of the reasons that you guys did well with our awards, first of all, 2 years ago, you were Best Place to Work in Carlsbad, and then Business of the Year. But you have some really neat perks for your team, for on-site and all the different things. And so one of the things, you guys actually provide on-site childcare, which I think you personally are able to take advantage of. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely. It is my favorite by far, bitchin' benefit. Short behind that, obviously, free sauce. But yes, we have free on-site childcare. Free on-site childcare for all of our employees It started out with Ashley Hawkins, our childcare director, leading the charge and really creating the program with the founder Starr. And it's grown, it was only a few kids and Ashley in that childcare, and now it has grown to, I believe we have 17 kids, a lot of babies, and we have 4 full-time staff members that work in that free childcare. So anywhere from a production line worker to our executive staff can take advantage on a daily basis.
And the 4 staff members are all employees of Bitchin Sauce?
Of Bitchin Sauce,
so yes. So they're directly your employees, and they're running that care, and you have a little one in it?
Yes, I have 3.
Oh, you have 3?
Yes,
okay,
I have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an almost 1-year-old.
That's awesome. And so that is, that's a great benefit. I mean, obviously, you being in HR and having to recruit people and onboard people know how valuable people, or how much people would value that. And I can attest to having working moms here on my staff, how valuable that would be. So that's an amazing benefit. But you guys have other things. Talk to me about your monthly events and employee engagements.
Yes. So every Friday, including this one, our staff is actually out there right now, we mobilize our employees for volunteer time off, our VTO opportunities. Starr had approached me a while back, a little over a year ago, and said, hey, I'd like to do some volunteer time off. I'd like to entertain this. And so I looked up what other companies do, and they usually do about like 1 or 2 days a year.
Yep.
So I went back and I wrote her this policy. I go, okay, this is what I think we should do based on what other CPG companies are doing. And she said, no. I want every single Friday, I want to offer at least 4 hours of volunteer time off for our employees.
Wow.
So we do this every Friday. We have an entire committee, our Bitchin Given committee that and staff that help mobilize our employees and give them the opportunities. They vet organizations and sign different employees up and make sure that they have the tools they need to go give back in the community. And we hand select these companies or these organizations so that we can see that big impact. Every 5 weeks, so we do 4 weeks of VTO, and then the 5th week, we like to throw a party for our employees. It'll vary from a Padres game to just a barbecue in our parking lot.
Nice.
But we make an effort every 4 or 5 weeks to get everyone together just to relax and celebrate and kind of thank our employees for not just giving to Bitchin Sauce their time and efforts to Bitchin Sauce, but also for the VTO opportunities as well.
That's great. So who are some of the companies that you guys have, volunteered with or for here locally that you feel comfortable sharing? Yeah,
of course. Olive Crest is one of probably our largest partner. They have an effort and an organization called Safe Families. And this is really the heart of the owners and really what we do at Bitchin Sauce. We love families. We love kids, obviously, with the childcare. It's apparent when you meet anyone or walk into our building that how much we love family and we value kids. But Safe Families provides an opportunity for mothers or fathers that are maybe struggling or kind of just in between or at a crossroads that maybe they need to search for a job or they have a health issue that they need to work through. And they are able to place their children in a family that has, gone through the proper background process. Sure. They can provide for them for a short stint of like a week, maybe a couple months to avoid going into the foster care system. Oh, and so it's a really amazing organization, and we give back to them a lot through events, through our time and volunteering. We and also give back to the families that take in those kids as well. And then we also people love animals as well.
Sure.
So we do things with various humane societies and Ivy Ranch and some of these other places to help with animals and give back there. Probably the top thing that our employees participate in on a weekly basis is cleanups. I Love a Clean San Diego is the organization that we partner with, and we go to various beaches, parks, and even our own beach club that is on the lagoon. Cool. And so we clean up the lagoon and just all the surrounding areas in Carlsbad and beyond.
Very nice. Yeah, so I Love a Clean San Diego is a member of ours. And, of course, I think you're talking about the Agua Hedionda Lagoon when you say the lagoon, but another great member of ours. So that's great. Well, I saw on your website it listed that at least at the time, whoever posted this, that over 3,000 hours in 8 months had been donated by your company in terms of volunteer hours.
Yes, it is pretty mobilizing a company of our size every single Friday. Yeah. Those hours start to rack up.
Piling up.
And if we ever have to, cancel that Friday because of the rain and we can't be outside or whatever, our employees are chomping at the bit at the next opportunity. So they love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's quite a commitment by the company. And then I was looking and seeing you guys have innovated. What's grab and go?
You must be referring to our snacker, our little snack pack. Yes. We have a nice 2-ounce sauce of either original or chipotle. So those are our two flavors for that SKU. And tortilla chips. And it's nicely packaged in a grab and go in a snack pack.
Yep.
And that is available at Sprouts, Target, and even 7-Eleven. So some of the places that you would want to stock up for your lunches and grab and go.
That's awesome. And then I was intrigued because it talked about how you guys have gone into some fancier sauces like roasted eggplant.
Yes. So we have our eggplant and olive that was an exclusive for Sprouts. And then our caramelized onion also was an exclusive at Sprouts. Those exclusives have ended or are shortly ending and will be available for other retailers nationwide as well. So we're gonna throw in caramelized onion for sure and then we have some other exciting ones on the horizon if I can share.
I would love to hear.
Yes, so we have a ranch which has been getting a lot of great feedback and people have been eagerly awaiting a ranch flavor.
Nice.
A lot of people substitute bitchin sauce for what they would use ranch for. And we also have an avocado, which I'm sure is going to be popular among West Coasters.
Yes.
And then we have what we're calling the pizza roll. So it's like a sun-dried tomato pizza roll type flavor. And so those will be launched in various stores as well. Another exciting thing, one of the main complaints is I eat 1 8-ounce tub in one sitting. And so in Costco only has the one flavor, chipotle. And so they're like, we need more sauce. So we also are doing a 15-ounce version of original and chipotle for other retailers besides Costco. Whole Foods and some Albertsons as well are going to be taking basically twice as big of a sauce.
That's exciting. So bigger containers for all the favorite flavors of sauces and more flavors coming. So you started with roasted eggplant and the others you mentioned on kind of a limited niche basis. Was that just to test it or how did that evolve? And I think you said it was just in Sprouts.
Yes. Sprouts is actually a newer customer for us, which is pretty crazy to think about because we've, it basically just took off running, but it took us a while to get in there. But once we hit the shelves, we were flying off the shelves. Yeah, and so Sprouts really, we've been partnering with them to figure out new ideas on how we can continue to drive growth for Bitchin Sauce at Sprouts. And they asked for an exclusive, and Starr always has new flavors up her sleeve, and she's always having fun in the kitchen and doing new R&D. And so that's what she came up with. And Starr was founder, but if I remember correctly, she's currently doing this fun stuff that you just mentioned, but not like at the office every day running the day-to-day operations. That's why she has you as chief of staff. Is that pretty accurate? Oh man, I'm definitely not running things, but I serve as a liaison, yes, along with our VP of Finance and VP of Operations who are on site. The rest of our leadership team is off-site, but very, very connected in the day-to-day. Starr and Luke, both as founders, are very hands-on and are able to have high touch on all the things that are happening. I would say about 75% of our company is actually at headquarters, so that makes it really easy to keep things going. And we've stayed at headquarters through all of the pandemic and everything, which has been really helpful. But our leadership team communicates well, and even having them off-site, they're still very involved day to day.
Yeah. So you teased up some new flavors and stuff coming. Any other new innovations coming? I love the snack pack thing. That's pretty cool. Any evolutions in other areas that we should know about?
Nothing really cooking right now. People keep asking for a squeeze bottle because they're just like, man, I need to put it on everything. One of our taglines is dip, spread, smother. And so we're running with that. We're just selling the tubs, but I'm sure there'll be some fun items in the future.
Yeah, down the road. And if you need taste testers for that avocado flavor, just let me know. I'll be happy to.
Definitely have to drop some by.
I'll be happy to give you some feedback. No, that's great. One of the things that as you continue to grow, we want to put out there, if you're local and you want to work for a cool company, keep Bitchin Sauce in mind. They have really cool culture there at the office, and they obviously love their team. So if you're looking for a cool place to work, keep that in mind as you search for jobs, because they're a growing company. But anything else you want to throw out there about Bitchin Sauce, about your guys' company, your culture, anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to share?
No, I think a lot of those were our passion projects or our fun new happenings. So yeah. I think that pretty much covers it. But yes, it is a very fun but fast-paced place to work. And thanks for that plug.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're one of the few who have yet to try Bitchin Sauce, make sure you go pick some up at your local retailer. It sounds like you're pretty much everywhere these days, which is awesome. But pick some up. I recommend getting the big tubs because you'll go through it fast the moment you try it. And, you'll be supporting a local Carlsbad company, local Carlsbad employees. So, Amanda, thanks for coming down and sharing today.
Thanks, Bret.
Thanks for joining us on our Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button on wherever you get your audio. And please tell a friend. We would love to hear your feedback, which you can share at carlsbadpodcast.com. You can leave us a review, ask a question, or leave an audio comment, which we can play on the show in the future. And that's all we have for today. Can't wait to see you next time on Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact. And remember, share some kindness today. It's free, creates goodwill, and makes you feel great.